world could always use more heroes, and now we're bringing out the Marvel ones. I'm your host, Moonlight150, and this is a Slice of Gaming podcast for March 29th, 2024. And we'd like to thank you for giving a slice of your time to tune in to a Slice of Gaming podcast. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, CastBox Radio Public, and Audible. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. Kind of busy week. We got some crazy leaks of games, but then the game just not released, but got announced the following day. We got good old Jimbo retiring, and a lot of other things to go over. And we're going to be going over our quarter update of the Fantasy Critic, because it is the end of Q1, and we're going to be moving on to Q2 here in the next week. So, to join me on all those fun stories, we have Bench.
Happy to be here.
Wolf.
God bless. What's up, boys?
And Fusion.
I'm also happy to be here. I'm more happy than Bench is to be here.
Oh, okay.
It's a competition.
I'm in a good mood.
Makes sense. He's had a good week.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm never here, so thank you for the invite.
So, I guess we'll just be moving on right over. I don't think we have any announcements to do, so we're just going to move right on over to Wolf with all the news.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the report because it saddened me too much, but I just want to point out real quick that today, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Staying strong. Jim Ryan, our sweet prince Jim Ryan, friend of the show, is retiring today from PlayStation.
21 gun salute. Salute everyone.
God bless.
You
Let's
will
talk
be
about our
missed.
favorite Jim Ryan memories.
When he
Mine was
retired.
left. No, it's my joke.
You guys both said it.
No, my
it's-
favorite Jim Ryan memory, I'll be real, was when if you guys, I don't know if you guys remember this, if you were as into gaming news at this time. It was in 2019. This was before he was the president, and it was like, oh, why isn't Fortnite? Because this is back when Fortnite wasn't crossplay, and Jim Ryan's answer to that was, oh, well, we couldn't because we're wanting to protect the kids.
Oh, I do
It's
remember that.
It's like it's
I
crossplay
vaguely
with
remember that.
it was crossplay with PC, but it's like, no, we want to protect our kids from this boxes. So that's my favorite Jim Ryan memory, just for how fucking stupid that this was.
Would have prepared more answers if I had a heads up, but I'd say the meme photos are always a highlight. He always knows how to put a smile on my face no matter the situation.
The controller when he can't
The
hold
headset?
the controller. Yes, the headset when he's on the voice call. That man never wore a headset before that day.
I'm glad he doesn't have to travel anymore and he can be with his family.
Yeah, that was the only reason he got forced out of the company. Not forced out, left willingly. Fusion, do you have a Jim Ryan memory?
The cookies as of late were pretty funny with his face on them.
Oh, and the
but,
bobblehead?
Yeah,
The-
his
the
bobblehead.
You mean the cookies at his party that day? Then they closed
Yeah.
the studio the
So
next
he
day.
closed the studios for, so it's funny. I was also gonna say that his email about his cats, but I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was
if
gonna be
actually funny. But,
Where he probably drunkenly emailed everyone about his cat.
like,
I don't think it was a cat. I think it was dogs.
no, I'm
No,
pretty
it
sure
was
it's cat.
I think it was
Which
kind of saying he
honestly-
wanted a dog.
He needs
That
to
was
get a
such
dog.
a
He
weird
deserves-
email.
Oh, so weird.
I'm
It's
surprised
like
they
because
never
it was
came
like-
out to say, yeah, he was drunk when he sent that.
It was like you didn't have to make a comment at all about the situation. Like, you're a video game CEO. It's like weird to say. It's like dog. It's like my dogs. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Do we get the new CEO soon, or is Hiroki Totoki going to be our interim CEO for a while? I think I asked this question before, but it
The
seems
fact
like
that they have it intermittent ones means he's probably going to be that for a while.
I think we find out before the Pro launches.
Okay,
I
so
think-
2025. No, I'm kidding.
I think they want someone that is gonna, like, I guess, launch hardware, and kind of like have that under their belt.
Totoki, he seems like a very much the money business guy. He understands, like, trying to get the financial profits back into gear, get PlayStation back into a more profitable state.
Well,
At
so is
least we can
Jim.
hope.
Jim was also the money business guy.
Yeah, but I think they realized Jim was kind of bad at that when it came to the
No,
live service
No,
push.
I mean,
No,
live
he was
service-
amazing. He was
like,
amazing.
no, I'm not even like trying to like be a offender But I mean, like, if you look at his track record, what he's done for like PlayStation in Europe, especially before he became president, is pretty wild. Without him, PlayStation
yeah.
wouldn't be as big in Europe as it is now.
Yeah, he was definitely instrumental in that. But it's always like, oh, he launched the PS5, which was so, like the biggest launch. But my viewpoint has always been like, well, he kind of like got it to the finish line, but it feels like Sean Layden, Andrew House, that previous group of people got most of like the actual stuff ready for the PS5. At least that's my viewpoint on it. The live service initiative is gonna be kind of the legacy for me when it comes to Jim Ryan of like, that was a bad idea.
Helldivers, though.
He has nothing to do with that.
Helldivers
just took
is
credit.
different. Hey, let him
That's what
take
he's
credit.
good
That's my
at.
go.
Well, you'll be missed, Jim.
I will miss you, Jim.
I won't.
Now to go back to the news, to the actual stuff that was on the report. I just wanted to have a quick Jim Ryan tribute there. Take-Two. We got some industry shakeups here. Take-Two is acquiring Borderlands maker Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million. Jordan Midler has this over at VGC. Embracer Group has announced that it has sold Borderlands developer Gearbox to Take-Two Interactive. The sale, which amounts to $460 million, will see Gearbox become wholly owned by Take-Two, which already had an ongoing relationship with the developer through the Borderlands franchise. Quote, as a significant long-term Embracer Group shareholder, I believe in the strategy for the Embracer Group going forward, and am completely convinced that this transaction is the best possible scenario and an obvious net positive arrangement for Embracer Group, for Take-Two, and of course for Gearbox Entertainment, said Randy Pitchford, who's still CEO of Gearbox. I just want to point that out. That's a little bit of editorializing for me. Quote, my primary interest is always Gearbox, especially our talent and our customers. I want to personally assure fans of our games that this arrangement will ensure that the experiences we have in development at Gearbox will be the best they possibly can be. The deal will see Take-Two gain the rights to the Borderlands and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands franchises, as well as Homeworld, Risk of Rains, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem. Studios included in the deal are Gearbox Software, Gearbox Montreal, and Gearbox Studio Quebec. Reuters first reported back in September that Embracer was considering selling off Gearbox, with sources claiming that third parties had expressed interest in buying it. And I should point out, this wasn't in the article itself, but the separate article, they did confirm that Borderlands 4 is in development. Shockingly. I don't think there's any surprise there. But yeah, this was kind of something that was almost an update on the situation that we reported on last month from Kotaku about Gearbox being sold off. And it seems like the sale has officially happened. I don't think they actually own Gearbox Publishing. They just own the development studios and a couple of other smaller things here and there. But hey, I mean, I think it always made sense for Gearbox to go under Take-Two. I was always surprised that they didn't already own Gearbox, considering they have such a great working relationship with the Borderlands IP. But it seems like Take-Two now has another big studio under their I'll be honest, kind of small roster, all things considered, as we went over that 1 week. But how do you guys feel about this sale finally going through?
I mean, I've never played a Gearbox game, but at least you can say they got out, I guess.
Yeah,
They've been
That's definitely the big
unembraced.
Yeah.
They escaped the embrace. I actually thought I was looking at this probably yesterday morning, and I was like, I feel like no one's talking about the IPs under Take-Two, because they already had like good IPs, but this was like getting Borderlands is like pretty cool for them, honestly.
Yeah, it was surprising that they didn't already have Borderlands. It was always like oh yeah, they've always just published it, but like Gearbox was independent, and then they went to Embracer Group, which, by the way, Embracer Group bought Gearbox for $1.5 billion, and they're selling them for $466 million, which is like $1 billion lost, basically.
Buy high, sell low. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. I mean, obviously there's the W factor and all of this, just the fact, one less studio under the Embrace horrible publisher, which, I mean, we've all talked about it. Like, we all agree that the Embrace isn't long for this world. They're going to be gone in the next couple years, it seems, right?
Honestly, at this point, I'd be surprised if they have gaming studios within the next 12 months.
12 months is very fast.
I think they'll probably keep like Crystal Dynamics. I think
mean,
that's one that actually stays.
I don't know. I mean,
sadly,
who have they sold in like the last 3 months? You'd think it'd be like they don't have many of their big names right now, like anymore. In Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, their game like Deus Ex got canceled, didn't it?
Give them
So,
another Guardians of the
Deus
Galaxy.
Ex got canceled, but the Tomb Raider game is still in development.
Okay.
and they're still
then-
helping with Perfect Dark. But
okay.
I mean, I actually could see a situation where Embracer basically just becomes a publishing label where they publish games under THQ Nordic, but they don't own any developers. That always made the most sense to me. But they decided, oh, let's buy studios and IPs. It's like, no, that doesn't work like that. You can't just buy, and not really have a real plan there. Which, I mean, hey, if they just do publishing, it's like, hey, give us money and let the developers develop their games. That sounds like the best possible scenario for them to stay in the industry. Or just leave entirely. That'd be good too.
You're on
I
to
think-
something.
Yeah.
Am I the only one here who's played any Gearbox games?
No, I played Tiny Tina.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I kind of liked it.
Oh, Fusion. Man, if you like
Wasn't-
that, you'll probably enjoy the other ones a lot more. 'Cause
I think
that's-
I only
started
liked
the
it
first
because
one.
the fantasy aspect.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was always interesting, but I tried. I'm like, this ain't it.
Wait, was Tony
uh,
Hawk Pro Skater 3 Gearbox or something?
They may have published it in another country, but that's
Oh,
a
for some reason, I feel like
Activision.
I've seen that on. I know I've seen that, but I feel like I've seen their logo also on the game somehow. I don't know, maybe it's crazy.
Gearbox did a lot of weird publishing stuff around the late 90s and early 2000s. It is interesting.
Was
Borderlands
Battleborn
4,
Gearbox?
yes, that was Gearbox, where they
I played
decided
a
to
little bit of
release
that.
a week before Overwatch, by the way. I want to point that out. They thought that was a good idea. I will say, I played, as someone who's kind of like a lapsed Borderlands fan, like I loved 2, I liked 3 for what it was, just fun gameplay, shoot game. But a lot of Borderlands has kind of just like been lost on me as of recent. Like the humor is just not there at all. Like people always kind of gaslit themselves. It's like Borderlands 2 is hilarious. It's like, no, it was the villain, Handsome Jack, was funny. Everything else was still not funny. Like everything else was badly written, but Handsome Jack was good. But now with this, say with Borderlands 4, I doubt anything's really gonna change. I think the humor's still gonna be pretty bad. I think the shooting is still gonna be kind of fun for what it is as a looter shooter, but I don't really expect Borderlands 4 to be anything special.
I forgot that a new Tales from the Borderlands came out in 2022.
And it was
Yeah, it was
poorly
not good.
received.
Yeah.
Nobody liked it. When do you guys think Borderlands 4 is even going to come out? Do you think it's like closer than we think, or is it still pretty far
There
out?
was like no indication, right, of like pre-production, full production, anything like that.
They
I
haven't
could
said
see
any words like that.
late
Just
next
we're
year.
making Borderlands 4.
I could see
I'd say
late
it's like
late
probably in
next
the
year.
middle of regular production. Yeah, maybe like
Why
early
do-
next year.
I could be 100% wrong. But why do I feel like we heard they were making Borderlands 4 last year?
we have.
Yeah, it's just been kind of like the unkept secret as is like, yeah,
No.
Borderlands 4 is in development at
I
some
thought
point.
I thought they like
There
actually
was-
came out and said it last year at some point.
No, there was never an official statement, but like I think there was like it wasn't a try. I think it was a Kotaku report of like, oh, Borderlands 4 is in development, which is like stalker. That's their like only IP now.
I mean, the Borderlands movie is on August 9th, so maybe we hear something about a Borderlands 4 around then.
I agree.
Maybe.
I think we'll definitely hear something about a Borderlands game. I mean, is it this holiday? Maybe it's
It's
not.
possible. I think it could.
I mean,
I think it could squeeze in if it really wanted to this holiday.
I think
It makes
next
sense,
year.
release it with the movie.
Could be early
Yeah,
next year
maybe.
next to GTA 6.
That's a terrible.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible because they literally publish both games.
Yeah, I'm not a big Borderlands fan.
Hater.
Yeah,
I was there for
As-
Ashley Burch and Tiny Tina, so
I've played the games and I'm not really that big of a Borderlands guy. I actually did like Borderlands 3 a lot. Just like the story and the dialogue is complete dog shit, but like it's fun to shoot things. Like it's hard to
Is it?
deny that.
it's probably a hot take. Well, I assume it's a hot take because you love the Borderlands game, but I've never thought like the shooting was ever that good.
You're not. No, that's not a hot take. It's mostly just the shooter looter aspect of seeing guns spill out. Back when that was actually like a cool, unique, and interesting thing, and then every fucking live service game did that. It's like, now it's kind of lame. So that's why I don't really think Borderlands 4 is gonna do anything for me.
Mm.
We will not be there.
Dark is gonna be there.
Dark
He's
won't be there.
trapped. That man does a Borderlands 2 replay every month. It feels like.
Dude loves them.
But yeah. He was so Dirk's not here, obviously. So that means we could talk shit about him. No, okay. But he was really down on Borderlands 3. I actually did want to hear his thoughts on if a Borderlands 4 could be a good thing. I've talked to him about it before, and he seems very pessimistic on it, which I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm
But yeah.
not like I don't think anyone's very optimistic
Yeah, I don't
on a
remember
Borderlands
anyone
game
really
right
saying
now.
anything good about Borderlands 3.
Three again. I think it's fun. I saw some positivity, but like it really is just like it's more Borderlands, and that was really what Borderlands 3 was. But yeah, Borderlands hype. I mean, I hope maybe this means by chance we get more IPs from Gearbox instead of just Borderlands and Homeworld, but who knows? This is a weird development studio, in my opinion. Also, Randy Pitchford is still CEO. How the fuck? That's still something I think about.
Then just do right there.
Yeah, really. Moving on. Polygon has this one. There was a big Phil Spencer interview Polygon had, and I took out two of the more major topics I wanted to talk about here. Phil Spencer wants Epic Game Store and others on Xbox consoles. To grow the console market, Xbox will need to be more like PC. Phil Spencer doesn't just want Xbox games on other consoles, he wants other video game retailers on Xbox too. In an interview with Microsoft CEO of Gaming during the annual Game Developers Conference, Spencer told Polygons about the way he'd like to break down the walled gardens that have historically limited players to make purchases through the first-party stores tied to each console. Or in layperson terms, why you should be able to buy games from other stores on Xbox, not just the official storefront. Spencer mentioned his frustrations with closed ecosystems, so we asked for clarity. Could he really see a future where stores like itch.io and Epic Game Store existed on Xbox? Was it just a matter of figuring out mountains of paperwork to get there? Quote, yes, said Spencer. Consider our history as the Windows company. Nobody would blink twice if I said, hey, when you're using a PC, you get to decide the type of experience you have by picking where to buy games. There's a real value in that. Spencer believes console players would benefit from that freedom too, and so would console makers like Microsoft.
Is this like Phil once again kind of like going on defeatist mode?
It doesn't feel like defeatist mode, but it definitely feels like hey, this is something we thought about because, when you're CEO of the company, you're going to think about every possible factor in order to grow your company. And this is definitely something that I think Phil and hell, even Jim Ryan, God bless his heart, has thought about when, PlayStation and Microsoft have gone through the worst of times. Maybe they're like, hey, maybe we could put other storefronts, take a cut of the profits from those storefronts if they go onto our storefront. I think the problem really comes down to there's a lot of games that are exclusive to PC on Epic on Steam, to where if you were to put those on those platforms on Xbox, would they port the games? Would they have to do a full-on port, or would the Xbox, like future Xbox iterations, just have to be basically a PC that can run all these games? It's not even like an Xbox version; it's a PC version that you can play on your Xbox. Is that like a situation you guys think?
I just don't think it's ever going to be a thing. I don't think it's possible. I think there's so much legality that it would take for existing games to be okay with their games being played on another platform where you could probably buy those games. I just can't see that future. I think this is a pipe dream.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Benny. What value does it bring to Xbox when there's already it's already hard enough to sell your own software over there. Let's add an entire new store just onto our platform. So
I mean,
that instead of people buying Call of Duty directly through us, they'll go through Steam on our own platform.
and honestly, maybe that's good for Microsoft, and honestly, this could benefit them. But it doesn't benefit anyone else, so no one else is going to want to put in the work to do it.
There's
Like,
a
this
lot of
doesn't
people.
benefit Steam.
If you have a Steam account, you have your Steam games. I don't know why you would buy an Xbox to be able to buy Steam on your Xbox and play
Yeah,
Steam games
definitely.
on your Xbox. Just doesn't really make sense from that position.
I mean, Steam
Like-
can't go tell existing games that now they're gonna be able to buy your game on like another platform, kind of. Like that just doesn't. I don't know. There has to be some like clause in some contract that's just not allowed because it doesn't seem like it should be allowed.
And to take it a step forward, think of all the very, very, very naughty games on Steam. Like, what do you do about that if you throw that on Xbox? I mean, there's thousands of those games that are just straight up basically poor on Steam. porn games. Like
Yeah.
Xbox
Porn.
doesn't allow that. Like they don't put those on their Xbox store, so you throw that into your ecosystem.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I think Phil is really getting at is that the Xbox ecosystem, PlayStation, Microsoft, they're all closed ecosystems compared to Steam, which is a lot more open. And I think Phil is just thinking about the idea of what if we opened our ecosystem in the same way. And there's a lot of benefits to that, but there's also a large amount of upkeep, a lot of moderation, a lot of shit that you have to do if you want to keep that like family friendly, not family friendly image. I don't want to say that, but kind of the like advertiser friendly
Consumer,
image. Yeah,
And,
exactly.
like,
And like
all
Steam is fine because the idea with Steam is, oh, it's an open platform. You know, you can do what you want with your games on Steam. Like it's a lot more open to what you're able to do with your PC games, your library. That's why people love Steam. It's a very, very high quality service. But Xbox, they would have to work really hard to be able to make that work and make it just as good of a service as Steam and like a worthwhile experience.
maybe this is a little hater energy, but I do
You're hating.
find Phil going on these interviews talking about different platforms and all that kind of annoying because like I haven't touched my Xbox in like 2 or 3 months because I haven't had a reason to. I don't have a reason to. They're not giving me a reason to. And him going out and doing all these interviews about we want to bring Xbox to like different places and different stores to Xbox, like none of that's exciting for me as a consumer. And honestly, it's just like grading at this point.
I mean, the big thing with Xbox that they've always had a problem with was games, making good games. But even when they release good games, it feels like there still isn't that demand because, like Phil said in the Kind of Funny interview, they lost the worst generation to lose, the Xbox One generation, where people built their digital libraries. And we're starting to realize a lot of these company heads, and I think consumers are now realizing it's like people don't buy consoles for exclusives anymore. Like that's not really as like common as you might think. A lot of Bethesda fans I know, when Starfield came out, they just didn't have interest because it's like, oh, it's not on PlayStation. I'll wait until it's on PlayStation. And granted, that's very anecdotal. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to say like, oh, this is 100% factual evidence that exclusives don't matter. You know, they still matter, but it's showing that they're starting to matter less and less, especially with live service games, these living games like Minecraft, Destiny, Fortnite, that are basically the only thing certain people play.
Yeah, and I do think, I guess to bring up like the pro, and you can make the argument that it's not going to have that big of a bump, and not that many people are going to buy a PS5 Pro. But the fact is that for me, the PS5 is now going to be the best place to play my first party games and third party games because I know it's going to be the more powerful hardware. So what like why would I invest in buying third party games on Xbox currently when I know in what like 8 months they're just going to be the worst version of the games for me, which I do think is putting PlayStation in a good position and Xbox, who is their white leaked Series X, which I don't understand what that purpose is. So I don't know if that's just me.
It is
Oh,
just
yeah,
you.
No, I don't think that's that uncommon of an opinion. It very much is a situation where right now the best reason to buy an Xbox is Game Pass. Like that's why you buy an Xbox. But even then, there's not enough big exclusives coming out on Game Pass. And I say that now. Like 2024 is actually looking like a very solid year for Xbox. I think it's gonna lead to a lot more releases. You know, Hellblade, Indiana Jones. But do they land in the like 80s, 90s? Are the high quality exclusives that you'd want to buy an Xbox for? I hope so. But there's also the question is like, all these games are also on PC, and there's also a PC Game Pass.
And I'll be
And I
playing.
think Xbox has just reached a point where they're like, well, we just want to get you in. We don't even care about like if you buy the console or not. We just want you to at least like buy it, get into the ecosystem in one way or another.
And I do expect these Xbox games to deliver this year finally. But I do think that like Game Pass, we know that those deals have dried up. They're nothing like they used to be, which kind of seems like Xbox is kind of losing faith in Game Pass as a service. I mean, it's the same thing going on with a lot of subscription-based models right now. That is also just happening with games. But that's the big argument for getting an Xbox currently is Game Pass, and it's most likely always going to have those first party games. And at this point, maybe they shouldn't, but it will, and that's always going to be a thing for it. But I don't think we see any big third party releases, and maybe even like bigger indie releases on Game Pass, and I think that's going to hurt the service. And that's kind of all they've got going for them at the moment.
Yeah, this is an ongoing conversation for sure about where Xbox comes out of the console race at this point. I don't even call it a war. It's more of a race. Both sides are both struggling in a lot of ways, in different ways though. And I think that's going to be something to monitor going forward. There was another thing in the interview I wanted to bring up, and this comes from VGC. Xbox claims mass layoffs were the outcome of a, quote, concerning lack of industry growth. This is Tom Ivan over at the VGC. Microsoft said gaming has said the company decision to cut 1,900 jobs was ultimately the result of a lack of growth in the industry. In January, Microsoft announced plans to lay off roughly 8% of the 22K people employed across Xbox, Bethesda, and Activision Blizzard. The company completed its acquisition in October of 2023. In a message sent to staff when the jobs were cut, Spencer said the decision was taken after leadership team set priorities, identified areas of overlap. Reflecting on the layoffs in a new interview with Polygon, Spencer said a lack of industry growth was forcing publicly traded companies across the industry to cut costs. Game developer. Wait, hang on, this is different. Quote, I'll say the thing that has me most concerned for the industry is the lack of growth, Spencer said. And when you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, and you get a lot of publicly traded companies that are in the industry that have to show their investors growth, because why else does somebody own a share of somebody's stock if it's not going to grow? The side of the business then gets scrutinized as the cost side, because if you're not going to grow the revenue side, then the cost side becomes challenged. We're a business, he continued. I've said over and over, I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable, growing business inside of Microsoft, and we are that today. But just across the industry, you mentioned it, and sit in here sitting at GDC, I reflect on friends of mine in the industry that have been displaced and lost their jobs, and just I don't want this industry to be a place where people can't, with confidence, build a career. So that's why I keep pivoting back to how does this industry get back to growth? But to your question, for us as Xbox or any of the teams that are out there, it is really an outcome of the industry that's not growing. It can grow and it will grow again. But you see this time right now, and the implications have human impact, and we should all reflect on that and think about it. Now, this was kind of making the rounds, and a lot of people were discussing this lack of industry growth comment specifically. Do you guys think that's very much the case? It has gaming not plateaued from a quality standpoint, but plateaued in the sense of growth in how gaming can get bigger. Has it reached a point where we basically have the 5 big games that take up like 60% of the gaming market, your Fortnites, your Destinies, your Minecrafts, and then everything else is kind of just like fighting for scraps, not growing in the sense that it used to?
Yeah,
I think
it's the fallout from COVID. The gaming industry boomed during COVID because people were at home. They got into video games. Life normalized now for the past couple of years, and now less people are buying games. Less people are doing pretty much anything with games. So now they're like, okay, well, now we don't have this. You don't have as many people buying Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and stuff like that these days, or investing into Fortnite and playing hours among that. So it is I guess you could almost call it a plateau. Like it plateaued in 2020, 2021 because more people were out of jobs, staying home, whatever, not going out, not even COVID itself, but just not doing outside activities. They're all staying inside and doing stuff. So that was like its peak. And then it petered back out to people, okay, it's like, well, that was fun. I got to go back to my real life, my job and all this other stuff. And so it's just you're not seeing as many people buying games as you did back then. So the companies all made the big mistake of saying, "Oh, look at all this growth we're doing." So they invest and hire more people, start more projects, and then suddenly, like, "Oh, we're not getting as big an investment anymore," and now we have to lay off all these people because we can't afford it.
I don't think I agree with the sentiment that gaming has plateaued as like growth. I think it's definitely slowed down, but I
It
think
plateaued in a sense of like it's never going to reach that again, like where on a mass
yeah,
world scale that a lot more people picked up the hobby of gaming.
yeah, but I don't think like the sentiment oh gaming is dying or there's like
No, it's returning
completely
back to what it
yeah.
probably was before COVID.
And I do think a big issue, it's like just more prevalent now because how much games cost to make. The reason why I guess it seems like it's plateaued and stuff is because people aren't seeing those as big of investment returns as they were during COVID and before COVID, just because Spider-Man cost $300 million to make. And did that sell 10 million yet? Because games are still selling. Like
It's all 10 million. Yeah.
we have multiple 10, 20 million sellers from last year. And I do think that's growth. You're just not seeing as big of a return. Like games
Well, I think
selling 1 million used to be a pretty big deal. And now it's going to sell 1 million or it's a failure.
the thing is that I think gaming has grown, but it's reaching a point where it really is gaming is starting going to become more like a lot of developers and publishers are going to try to be more safe. Your Spider-Mans, your Fortnites, your Destinies, those are always going to do well. But I think a lot of these like smaller games, these smaller like studios are actually going to start struggling a lot more going forward, in the sense that you have to sell well. You have to make like double this amount, and you're going to see a lot less risks taken from big publishers of like, oh, let's let this studio do this cool thing. It's like, no, we can't. You need to help with like the new Spider-Man or the new IP game, or like help with Fortnite. So like it was back when Activision, they needed all developers on deck to even make Call of Duty like sustainable, which just it's showing like this. I think gaming just grew at an unsustainable amount. And now it's trying to normalize that, which is leading to all these layoffs, which sucks, but it's just some type of attempt to restabilize the industry. And it's going to lead to. Yeah, go ahead.
Gaming's a very young industry, no matter how you look at it, compared
yeah.
to a lot of other forms of pretty much any other form of entertainment. And you have like sports who have been around for over 100 years and stuff. Gaming is like small,
Longer than
yet
100.
somehow it's bigger than all of them. So
Yeah, I'm very curious to see. I think we're at the worst of the layoffs, but like, it was interesting to hear Phil's viewpoint on all of that.
yeah, and then
Moving on.
like you said,
Oh, go ahead.
one more
What's that?
thing. Like you said, like we're gonna have a lot more safe games, and that's gonna cause the not safe games to just stand out that much.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think those not safe games are going to be like the ones that are in the game of the year conversations, leading them to be talked about and hopefully sell even more, and these publishers to start paying attention to them.
Yep. Gaming is not dead. Confirmed here.
That's debatable. Well, gaming's not dead because we got a brand new game, which is an IP game. So, maybe it doesn't help with the last conversation, but still, Marvel Rivals just got revealed this week, March 27th, so a couple days ago. Free-to-play 6v6 shooter, destructible environments, 18 confirmed heroes, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Loki, Magneto, Spider-Man, and more. Robust post-launch roadmap, in development for PC, closed alpha in May with 12 heroes. I should mention that's Okami Games that had this post. And the Steam page is up, quote, assemble an all-star Marvel squad, devise countless strategies by combining powers to form unique team-up skills and fight in destructible, ever-changing battlefields across the continually evolving Marvel universe. Now, I'll admit, as the Overwatch guy, seeing this, my first reaction was, not again. I can't do it again. I'm done. I don't want to try to get sucked in again. And I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm safe. This doesn't look that good. I'm not really into the trailer. This definitely feels like a too little too late, where it's like, hey, it looks like Overwatch, but it's like Overwatch was popular like 7 years ago, and I don't think there's a market for that like group anymore. What do you guys think?
I mean, there's definitely the possibility of it's not too late. It's like, okay, Overwatch has finally burned everyone to the point of like, okay, maybe I'll look at this now.
I actually think this could take off big if the gameplay is good. I think
Yeah, that's
there's
what I feel
just
like. It's going to be janky at first, but it could take off.
a Marvel Overwatch just sounds like something that could just really take off. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that it's going to do very well. And I think I saw some tweet that said like even like the most dead of these games are still getting updates from like these like companies that make these like Marvel games. I think like NetEase or something. But I do think this is going to take off in a big way.
I mean, I hope it's good. Like, that's kind of my debatable thing where I'm like, it just doesn't do much for me. I think the team synergy attacks could be cool, like you saw Groot and Rocket Raccoon, but other than that, I'm like, nothing is standing out.
I'm with you.
From what I heard, the
thought-
trailer is like very pre-alpha, so it's possible this thing could get better in the next couple months.
Yeah, I guess it could get better, but I'm kind of with you. I thought maybe mobile is too extreme because it didn't really look like a mobile game, but there was nothing in the gameplay where I was like, this is going to hit for me. I'm sure I'll check it out, but I wanted to be, for one, I was a little surprised when they did announce like the leaks the night before it was like third person, because for some reason I was just thinking, oh, this would be like a first person Overwatch, blah blah. But yeah, when it came out, I thought the art was cool, and like the gameplay, I mean, the graphics and stuff, but the gameplay never really. There was nothing in that trailer that shouted like, this is going to hit for people. But I think if it does hit, it's for the people who are really into the Marvel IP. Like if you're really into the Marvel universe and you're really into those characters, and there's some cool characters already like in this pre-alpha that they're gonna put out. So like if you're really into all of that, this could do something for you. But I feel like if you're an Overwatch fan or if you're already like playing a live service game, I find that this game's going to have a very tough time taking those people away and playing this one.
Yeah, it
I
could go
definitely
either
agree
way.
with that. The big worry right now with a lot of like new live service games is, well, the new live service games, you're trying to get the people who are into like the Destinies, the Fortnites. They're stuck to their game. They're kind of like they want to only play that game, so trying to take them away from that into a brand new game is a lot harder than I think a lot of these companies are realizing. But we will see. They didn't have any date. When do you guys think this one's coming out? I'd say like
Well, they have-
2025.
They're doing their alpha test, whatever it's called, in May, so I could see like a late summer launch.
I don't think that. I think it could be
An
early next
alpha?
year.
Yeah, for an alpha, that means it's actually farther than we think. If it was a beta, then I would agree with you, late summer, but I assume early 2025 makes more sense for this.
I do think we're gonna have like, I could see them also like putting this into a beta that doesn't have a time limit for a while. I mean,
No multiverses.
more communicated than
Whoa.
that. But I could see the game actually just. 'Cause I do think this is the type of game we're getting player feedback could be good. So I think they might do that. Like you have the alpha, and then maybe late summer, early fall, we do get just a beta release with a
Yeah,
limited
I didn't
amount
say a
of
full
heroes.
release for the
Yeah.
like later. I was saying more like a beta release.
This also does come out like the day, like Multiverses comes out like the day before this alpha.
Do we have a confirmed date for the alpha? I thought it was just
I
generic
thought it said
May.
May 29th. That's what
No,
I
I
thought.
I just heard just May.
Wow, Comic Games is failing us. They didn't
Check
have a
real
date.
quick. I swear it was May 29th.
That's Multiverse's date.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure they're like the same time. How do I check? Where do I check?
No, I don't
I'm
think it's
checking
on
the.
the date.
It's probably on the Steam. Well, okay, no release date to be announced. Oh yeah, there was a female Galactus. I'm into that. That's hot.
Galacta, yeah.
Why are you
Daughter
into
of
that?
Thanos.
No. I'm not horny. I'm not horny.
Uh-huh.
Whoa. I saw Luna Snow's in it or something. I'm like, who knows anything about Luna Snow?
I
That-
did some research on her. She's a newer character.
I was
She's
saying,
a-
she has like one comic book as far as I know.
Yeah, I think she's like a game original character that then got spun into like an actual comic book hero.
Apparently, she was made to like appeal to the Chinese audience, is from my understanding.
Oh, okay, well, more like this. Under more like this for the Steam page, there's TF2, so I think that just says it all.
Yeah, a lot of people are comparing.
Maybe I can't find the date.
People are calling it more Overwatchy, but people who are like really dissecting it says it's more like Team Fortress 2.
Hey man, that's a W for me. I love TF2.
Looked like Smite to me.
That and Smite, TF2 and Smite is what a lot more people are calling it than Overwatch. People are just calling it Overwatch because of the hero aspect.
I'm calling it Overwatch because we need something Overwatch.
Overwatch fans are desperate.
Oh man, I'm done with that shit. So, I mean, listen, like I said, it's like not like this. Not doing it again. I've already gotten into one 6v6 hero shooter. Never again. Moving on. Another game had a preview, hands-on preview. Well, there was a kind of not a preview event, but very much a small, like just a few gaming industry personalities able to play this one. Judas. Which, if you don't remember, is the game from the BioShock creator, Ken Levine, over at Ghost Story Games. Judas, this is Okami Games has this. Judas hands-on previews. BioShock in Space from Ken Levine. Shocking. Non-linear story structure. Main character has memory loss. 3 major side characters: Tom, Troy Baker, Hope, Nefertiti. Each of
Tits.
their narratives occur simultaneously. Your decisions with these characters greatly affect the narrative. Every player's experience will be different. Some roguelike elements. Judas can regenerate herself probably after dying. And then, hang on. If you die, you lose all your items and can earn resources for upgrades. Both the narrative and combat encounters will change based on what faction you side with. Narrative Legos is a key term, which is something Ken Levine was talking about a few years ago at a GDC talk.
A
Now,
decade.
I watched the Friends Per Second
Same.
podcast about this game. I'm thinking this could be a banger.
This could
I'm
be-
into it. I'm interested in the setting. I don't like sci-fi usually, but I think BioShock is that's like sci-fi adjacent, and I think I'm into that vibe. So if you could do something similar to that, and just like artistically, like I love the robot designs. They just have this like weird but cool aspect to them all. But it is interesting. It seems like this game is actually earlier than I expected in development, because I think Ken Levine was straight up saying it was like an alpha. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe I misheard him. But 2025 release date, does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
I mean,
late
I also,
2025.
yeah, I also watched the Friends Per Second interview. And as someone who's never played Bioshock, I do plan to soon. Bought the trilogy, but I'm very interested in this. I'm definitely not the biggest roguelike fan, but I think the narrative Legos could keep me engaged. And I think just everything he's like, the way he talks about his creative process was just so like enthralling. And I love when like devs talk like that. So I'm just very down for everything this game is showing.
Oh yeah, Ken Levine's awesome. He's definitely a very intriguing. He has a lot of ideas, and I really respect like what he's got cooking in his brain. I will say it's surprising. It's like you look at this game, it's like, man, this took 10 years, like 10 plus years. Now, granted, I'm not saying the game looks bad. I'm just like surprised by the amount of time it took from Bioshock Infinite to this one. I hope the wait has definitely paid off. Now, I haven't actually. I played Bioshock 1, but I haven't ever finished it. I am very much curious to see where this story goes. I know Infinite is actually somewhat controversial among some people. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I have no opinion on that. Fusion, you recently played Bioshock. You have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like Bioshock, so I'm excited for this. I'm not. Oh, for some reason, I don't think the preview made me less excited for it. I think it was more of just how far it's still out for me. Because I genuinely, like, I think I was telling Mood like 2 days before these previews, I was like, I think this game could be this holiday. Like, it's got to be close. It's been forever. But the fact that I heard multiple previews talk about how they're playing some levels that aren't even completely finished. Like they're supposed to have puzzles in the map and they just don't have the puzzles like in the game yet. I'm like, how far is this video game? If like we're still playing unfinished like builds now. I don't know. I'm
really
being pessimistic, but I feel like this is even further out than like 2025 feels safe, but I think it's like Q4 2025 maybe.
Yeah, that's why I said
or,
late 2025.
or 2026 at this rate, which seemed insane to me for a game that's like been in development for so long.
It just really makes me question, why did they do this thing of having these influencers do this test build, do these interviews with Ken when the game is so far away? It's like, okay, cool, you're getting us excited. You've revealed it's kind of like a roguelite a little bit, and there's a lot of Bioshock to it, and okay, now wait 2 years for it. It's like, why? Why are you doing this?
It's
Yeah,
so
I've never
weird.
seen previews this early, actually.
Five people played this game. Jeff Keighley, the GOAT, the FPS podcast crew. So, oh my God, who's there? Lucy
Skill
James,
Up, Lucy
Jake
James, Jake,
Baltino. You don't know Skillup's real name? I don't.
Ralph.
Ralph. Yeah, it's Ralph.
Ralph. That's a goated name. And Ryan McCaffrey at IGN.
Yeah, it's like,
So,
why?
Five people, and it's like, from what we saw in the interview, it seems like Ken Levine was like, "Oh, we didn't want to host a preview event. We just wanted like a few people to come." But it's like, I'll be honest, a weird assortment. Like Jeff Keighley makes sense. You know, he debuted the game. It makes sense that Jeff would be able to play it.
He is
Ryan
video
McCaffrey,
games.
Exactly. He's the GOAT. Ryan McCaffrey, IGN. It makes sense. IGN, that's probably one of the biggest. But then the FPS podcast, and you watch and I love the FPS podcast, by the way. But you watch it, it's like Ken Levine is just like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of y'all's podcast, so that's why I invited you guys. It's like, you know what? I respect that. Just invite the people you're fans of.
That's pretty much what it is what it feels like. Ken Levine just wanted to be interviewed by his friends.
I mean, Moon, you're a Bioshock Infinite fanboy. Did this do anything for you?
I mean, I didn't really read much of it, just whatever you guys have talked about from reading the interview, and I'm like, sounds cool. I'll be waiting. It's hard for me to get interested in a game that's more than 6 months to a year out. And I'm like, cool. I'll put it on my list of games I'll eventually be excited for.
Yeah, I think that was maybe it with me when I said I felt kind of less excited after the preview. I think maybe it was genuinely because it was like I thought this game was going to be decently close, and then it just seems like it's so far out where I'm like, how much fun? Like I understand games, and I'm someone that's like games take time. I'm always like I'm patient for the most part about games. I haven't heard a word from Team Cherry in 2 years, and I'm still sitting here waiting for them. But
Hey man.
it's just like
What about?
I think it's just the whole preview thing being like previews this early with 5 people is just insane to me. But at least it sounds cool. Like I was very surprised that the health stuff's a little weird, where they're talking about how there's no healing, but there's 1 health station per level. I think the thing that kind of threw me off was like it seems like it's a per level type game, or I don't know if that means you're loading into a level and then backing out and loading into another level, or if they mean just like floors to a build. Like, I don't know what, because it didn't really explain it too much, but it will be. I don't know. I think if they can nail the actual like narrative Legos that they're going for, like, and if it's truly like a new thing for video games, it could be really, really cool. But I'm really hoping we don't get 18 months from now, we get this game and we're just, it's fine. Because I feel like they're hyping it up to be a lot more than what I feel like it could come out at launch and actually be.
Well, the problem is 18 months from now, 24 months from now, whenever this game comes out, we're going to forget about this little like, oh yeah, they did interview like 5 people back in like 2024. We're going to completely forget about that until one of us just randomly remembers like, hey, remember when they did that preview like so long ago?
Yeah.
That was weird.
We all have short-term memory in this industry.
We?
Yes, we. The amount of times you forget shit, don't even. I'm not the only goldfish on this podcast.
I take pride in my memory.
Oh, okay, Fusion. What happened on May 29th, 2014? What were you doing that day?
That's one of my best friend's birthdays, but I don't know what I was doing that day.
Damn it! I should have chosen a different day.
I don't know what I was doing that day.
Celebrating your friend's birthday. Come on, man.
Probably not. I was in high school, so I have no idea.
Okay, who's coming back on topic? Moving on. We got a quick one. Remedy's financial report. I wanted to bring this up because there was a couple of interesting things here.
Because Fusion's
New
here.
Condor. No, I don't like Fusion. I'll be honest.
Wow.
Sorry, Fusion. This Okami Games has this. New Condor info seemingly up next. Max Payne 1 and 2 remix in production readiness stage. Control 2 in, and this is the thing me and Fusion were talking about, proof of concept stage.
Oh.
Timeline seems to be Condor, then Max Payne 1 and 2, then Control 2. Remedy acquired rights to Control franchise in February, and then there's another post by Okami. Control 2, Condor, and Max Payne 1 and 2 made steady good progress throughout 2023. Team is dedicated to make Control 2 a worthy sequel to the original award-winning game. As of last month, Alan Wake 2 has sold 1.3 million copies, the fastest-selling game. I mean, we gotta talk about that proof of concept. Are you surprised by that, or are you like, that sounds right?
I mean, I was shocked, to be honest. I was shocked when they said that. To tell me that The Witcher 4 is in pre-production and you're still in proof of concept for Control 2 Remedy, let's figure it out. let's figure it out, guys. I don't know. I was shocked to hear that. I understand, because in my mind I was like, oh, we're gonna get Alan Wake 2 and then they're gonna jump into Control 2. But it's just the fact that proof of concept's fine, whatever. Take their time. It's the fact that there's 3 projects before it where I'm not mad. I'm just a little salty because I love Control so much, and it's been 5 years already, and we're still on the proof of concept. And like in my head, I guarantee the Max Payne remakes take priority because of Rockstar and that money and everything involved in deals and everything. But in my head, I'm like, I feel like the Max Payne remake should never take priority over like the Control sequel. But like I said, contracts and other stuff, they probably have to get that out by a certain date. While Control 2 is their own thing, they can get it out whenever.
Is Control
mean-
2 a PS6 game?
PS6. I mean, if it's proof of concept now, then
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's
Is
probably
it-
not even this gen, which is insane to think about.
I mean, Fusion, I'm gonna hit you with something, a genuine question. With Condor, that's their next game. It's this multiplayer game. Do you think, and this sounds rude, but I'm not trying to be rude, they're wasting their time with it, and this is not going to do anything, and it feels like it might be a miss because like we see how difficult it is to release a multiplayer game nowadays. Do you think it's like, well, Remedy has that magic, they can make it work, or is it, nah, you should have gone right into Max Payne 1 and 2 instead?
I think if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have said maybe. But remember that article? Remember the news probably like 6 months ago when they completely transitioned on that project and they turned it less live servicey and they're more focused on we want this to be a co-op game set in the Control universe. So I think if this is going to be like if this is just like a multiplayer like co-op PvE type thing and it's going to give me this Remedy universe like lore and it's going to be like an entry into that, then I'm all for it. Like, but if this was just going to be like a live service game with the Control IP, yeah, I probably would have thought it would be a waste of time. But I think after Alan Wake 2, I'm so into just anything you have to give to build more lore into the universe you're building, I'm in. So if anything, I want to play those Max Payne games, but if anything, I'm more like, I don't care about those Max Payne games compared to the universe you're building with Alan Wake and Control and everything else.
So more like a Helldivers 2 situation than like an ongoing live service. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Okay, that's a great. That's makes me a lot more interested. Then I thought it was
Well,
going to be more
what if
like
the
live service.
what if the Max Payne remakes are integrated into the universe?
That would be crazy.
Oh, they are. They
Yeah.
stated that it's going to
Yeah,
be
I think
part
it's
of the
right.
universe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
interested in those Max Payne remakes.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot
same.
of good things about that franchise.
I
But
bet they take some liberties and kind of intertwine them with the new Remedy universe.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just a little peeved off. It's like, okay, you got Max Payne 1 and 2. It's like you can't at least port Max Payne 3? Like no plans about that at least? Like that's
I mean,
weird.
I could see them just making it non-canon.
That's probably what's going to happen because Max Payne 3 was Rockstar, and now they were like fully developed and written by Rockstar. And I almost think they were a little like, I don't like the story of that one. I haven't played
Isn't
Max
that the
Payne
one
3, so I
people
can
are
tell.
like, they don't really
People-
like that much?
No, people love the gameplay, but story wise, everyone's like, it's okay, but
Mm.
like not as good as 1 and 2. But like the gameplay, I've heard like it's like one of the best third-person shooters. So I'm intrigued. Moving on to our topic because that is all the news. Kind of a lighter news week, I'd say, but we got a lot in terms of our topic. And is it specifically? Oh shit! What was it? Fantasy Critic. Sorry.
You already lost
First time.
it.
Goldfish.
First
after
podcast.
me.
So I'm not a goldfish. I legitimately.
He
I was
just
like,
forgot
what
the
was it?
name.
It was like Critic something. But yeah,
Critic
we have
something.
Fantasy Critic. We did our Fantasy Critic draft at the beginning of the year. And Patch, don't post the goldfish gif in chat, please. I'm not a goldfish. Why do I keep getting accused of this? Anyways, we did our
He's being a
fantasy.
hater.
Exactly. Thank you, Fusion. But we did our Fantasy Critic draft in January. If you don't know what Fantasy Critic is, we basically create like a fantasy football team, if you know that, where we draft a bunch of games, and then throughout the year we bid on games, and by the end of the year we see like what games score the most on Open Critic, what league has the best, what publisher, because we're like publishers. It's like, Fusion gets Like a Dragon and Persona 3. He gets 19 points for both. He's at plus 19. 38. He's at 38 points, if that makes sense. But yeah. I think
You just want me to take over? You sound like you're struggling.
No. I'm not struggling. I got it. I'm pulling it up. Did we want video for this, or are we good to just
No,
do
I
it
don't think so. I'm gonna leave a link to our league in the description. So if you want to follow along, please follow it because followers gives us more exposure on the website. So follow the league if you want to keep up to date on it. And
We only have one follower? Oh, I forgot to
Wow.
follow.
I'm probably not following. Well, I don't know.
I
if
don't
I'm
think I am
following.
either.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
no. Well, no,
Who's
wait, I think I am
following?
because.
Oh,
no, I
I'm
think.
following. That's me.
Oh wow, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
But
Wait, never mind. I lied. That wasn't me.
Okay.
well, we have our actual fantasy critic. Let me go over it. Let me reload the
You wait. You want me
page
to read it,
just
or
in
you want to
case.
read it?
No, I got it. If it reloads the page. I mean, I'm gonna stall time. I mean, what do you guys think of the fantasy critic so far? Are you guys having fun with it? Are you like glad we did this?
All
Are
right.
you
think I'm
mad
gonna
at me
win.
for barely bidding?
Yeah, we need you back in there. I'm actually, other than you not bidding, everyone's like been filling their teams a lot. Like I
It's
think,
funny that like the two
I
people
haven't
who are
bidded at all.
rarely on the podcast are like taking full advantage of this.
like Navi has so many games already. I think he needs to fill 3 slots.
Yeah, Navi I saw was going on a bidding spree. He's currently standing in first place. The website's not loaded. Oh, wait. It just loaded. It's okay, guys. Don't worry. Technical
I
difficulties.
mean, I'm
I
already
got it.
loaded.
We're in.
Navi has
we're
also
in.
had like 5 games released though.
So let's go over everyone's standings right now. Let's start with Dark, who right now, his publisher name To Be or Not To Be, and he has
It's a near
Persona
pun if
3
you don't get that.
Near pun, yeah. Persona 3 Reload, which is the only game of his league that has released at 88 Open Critic, so he gets 18 points for that. And then from there, he got Call of Duty 2024, which is counterpicked by someone. I'll check who gets the counterpick on that. Oh, it was Moon. Moon counterpicked Call of Duty. Great job, Moon. That's an easy win for you. I mean, Dark Steam's very positive that Call of Duty is going to hit this year because it's Treyarch. I mean, Fuchsia, do you feel that, or you're like, ah?
I mean, I think it will hit, but I'm not like.
It's not
For
going to be
me-
some mega hit. I mean,
Yeah,
let's look at the last Treyarch Call of Duty. Which one was that? Cold War?
Cold War. For me, a mega hit for like a hit for Call of Duty is like a 77 anymore. So like
That's fucked.
So at
Because-
worst, I'd lose 7 points.
like Cold War was a 75. Like Call of Duty just doesn't review because if you think about it, 90% of the time, half these reviews are almost solely based off the campaign. Like IGN usually goes in there and they have a multiplayer review and a campaign review. And most of the time on Open Critic, it's just like whatever the review score for the campaign is. So like it's more based off of how good is this Call of Duty campaign and less of how good is this Call of Duty as a package, Call of Duty, I mean multiplayer, zombies, everything else. And I feel like all the Call of Duty campaigns of lately have just been so meh that I doubt this one would do anything special to be like, hey, this is going to be an 80+ game.
So it might be a good multiplayer game, possibly, and zombie game, but it's not going to be maybe not hit as
Yeah,
well as
It's not an Open
a
Critic
campaign
hitter.
game and an open credit game.
Now going over Dark's other counter picks, which by the way, 5 counter picks. He got counterpicked for 5 of his games, which I really hope Dark just like comes out and wins, because that would honestly be the funniest timeline. Fusion counterpicked Crimson Desert for him. I'll be honest, Fusion, that's an easy counterpick for you. That is not coming out this year. They seem pretty.
I told him that night on the podcast. It got delayed like a few. I think because we did it in January and December, an article came out that said it was delayed to 2025. And I'm like, yeah, I got him. I got him.
Black and White remake. Navi counterpicked that, and I think we just know for certain that's not happening this year because of the recent Pokemon Presents. So that's another L. Final Fantasy IX remake. Who counterpicked this one? I forget. Oh, Bench.
Me.
Yeah.
That's not.
Bench. Do you think it's not going to come in? Because I've seen a lot of FF9 hits from Yoshi P. I think it might actually be this
I
year.
don't think it's this year. I think it's next year, and it could be early next year. I just think Final Fantasy has been hitting on all cylinders this past year. Kind of like from 16, you have 16 DLC, 14 patches, 7 rebirth, 14 expansion. I just think they need to give Final Fantasy a little breathing room because it's all of these games are of surprising quality, and they've all released in less than a year. So I think just giving this a little time to breathe would be nice.
And then
Plus, I
Wolf
think we
Among-
had some rumors that it was like some internal like delay the other day earlier. So I think it could be next year, but I do think Yoshi P is hinting at Dawn Trail because Dawn Trail's taking some heavy FF9 like references and stuff, and like Zidane and Dagger are like wind up figures you can get in the game with pre-order bonuses. So there's something there, and it obviously exists because the Nvidia leak, and also 14 rules. I got back into it recently, so
And just to throw it out there
Just
about
wanted to add
Final
that.
Fantasy IX, Dark spent $40 on that. No one
I
else bid
forgot
on it.
about that.
No one else put a bid. He could have spent $0, and
It's
he
his first
spent
time
40.
playing. It's his first time playing.
I
Give
just
him a
felt
break.
like math is simple. That was not it. No.
I forgot about that. And then the last thing
he's
that
just
got
being an investor. He's like, I'm going to invest all this money and I'm going to get all of it back in points.
Maybe.
the last thing that he bidded on that got counterpicked was with The Wolf Among Us 2. Jack counterpicked that. And honestly, with Telltale's language about this game, I actually don't think it's going to be this year, which is weird because
Which is weird because they were like so like, oh, we're going to see you in 2024, and like,
I think it's this holiday.
it's
You think
possible
it's
it
hitting?
could still be this year. I think it's like 60-40 it comes out this year.
I think we get the release date at Summer Games Fest.
That seems
Yeah,
right.
they have an established relationship with Keighley. I hope so. I want the Wolf Among Us fans to be happy. And then so as the Sonic fan, he bidded on Sonic X Shadow Generations. At max, that's an 80. I can't wait for that game, but that's a max 80 game. And he also got Stellar Blade, which I actually think that's a safe pickup. Everyone's been pretty positive on the demo, so shout outs to Dark there. You guys like Dark's chances on this league?
I don't think he'll come in last place. I think there's a certain host who
Shut
forgot.
up. I'm gonna
No,
remember.
I think
It'll
he
be
comes in
fine
last place,
because
too.
most of the games that we're laughing at are either don't exist, so it'll just be a flat 0, and there's nothing here that screams it's going to be a negative. I don't think they're going to repeat the same thing with Call of Duty. At worst, Call of Duty is going to give them like 5 to 7 points. And everything else, like the Pokemon Black and White remake and the Final Fantasy IX remake, they're just going to be 5-0. So it's not hurting him outside of he could have bid on something else.
Yeah.
Next up is our current leader in the league, Navi. And let me tell you, Navi is a fucking menace. I feel like he barely talks about the league and he's just out here bidding on games and going crazy.
Yeah,
He's already
just
at
doing silently in the shadows.
67 points. Which, by the way, for prosperity, I want to point out, Dark was the first one with 18 points. Now, granted, a lot of Dark's games haven't come out yet, and Navi has a few games that came out, so there's definitely a difference. But still, like, goddamn. First was Rebirth, which is a 93, gave him 25 points. Tekken 8, which gave him 20 points. Which
Yeah,
I was
no one was
surprised
expecting Tekken 8 to do so good.
Yeah, we
That's
messed
the
up
thing.
letting them get those two.
That's the thing. I would have gotten Tekken 8 earlier if I knew. It really was just surprising. Like, it got a 90 on Open Critic. Like, I was expecting like small 80s, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's why I mean, look, it's his third one and he's second in. So this whole league snaked twice before someone picked up Tekken 8
before
because
Tekken
we were
came
all
in.
expecting high 70s, low 80s.
Exactly. And then they just were like, "Hey, we made the best Tekken game." Fucking love Harada. That's the goat. He also grabbed Pacific Drive, which was kind of a sleeper game. Gave him an easy 10 points, sitting at an
Surprisingly, I was not expecting that.
80. No, I'm not too surprised by that. People were pretty high on it. I know Blood over at Easy Allies was talking about it. I'm like, oh, okay, this actually sounds a lot cooler than I thought. And then Bandletale, a League of Legends story, which didn't do too well. It got a 73. He got easy 3 points, and then finally, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden gave him another 10 points. So Navi's kind of playing in hey, I'm going to grab all these like kind of mid-tier games, these like games that are going to give me a safe 10 to 15 points. While we're over here trying to play the big leagues. I think
it's like he's
Navi's
allowed to
better.
because he's got his cushion now of Rebirth and Tekken 8. So he can now just fool around with all these mid games and they'll just stack up.
By the way, I love how we're calling mid games at like 80s. It's like we're the problem with the
Yep.
industry.
Yeah,
We are.
Yeah, Fusion.
We're using the
What?
bench scale.
I was gonna say they're using your scale, buddy.
I want to point out, he only had one of his games counterpicked by me, Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Seems like it's going to come out this year. Jeff Grubb seems
that was a
extremely
mistake from
confident.
me, dude.
Okay, here's my thing though. I don't think it's going to be good. I think I'm safe. I don't think it's going to be good. I think
Do
it's
you
going to
really
be.
think it could get below a 70 though? Like, do you think you won't?
It's not
lose
going to
any
get
points?
below a 70, but I'm not going to lose that many points. I think at max it's like 85.
I can.
That's a lot of points.
That's a decent. That's a decent chunk of 15 points.
But I said at max. I think it's
okay,
most likely going to be around like 80s, like low 80s, high 70s. I don't think this is going to be BioWare resurgence. Now, granted, I'm a pessimist when it comes to BioWare, but I think I'm safe to be a pessimist when it comes to BioWare with their last 2 games. I'm hoping Mass Effect is good. But then we get to my team, kind of fraudy, which hasn't been on any games because I didn't forget. Okay, guys, I'm playing.
Well,
the
you
long
bought
games.
Grand Blue,
strategy.
Oh, I bought Grand Blue. Yeah. So I bought 1 game.
and it worked out for you because that scored a lot higher than I thought it would.
Yeah, so Grand Blue got an 81, got me an easy 11 points, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth got a 90, easy 20 points. Very satisfied with that. But I'm an idiot, guys. I did the foolish errand. I thought Metroid Prime 4 was going to come out this year. I really did. I thought Switch 2 was going to come out with Metroid Prime 4. Navi counterpicked me on that, and I think he's going to get an easy counterpick win on it. I don't think it's going to hit. Now, granted, maybe something happens, and it's like, oh, wait, no, it actually does hit, but it's hard to believe. Though I'm sitting at 31 points, so I'm not at last place. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, you're
listen,
projected third right now. Like if the league, they think you'll finish in third. So for only having 2 games come out so far and still projected third, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I still got like Delta Snake Eater, Stalker 2. My secret pick with Homeworld 3. You guys are not gonna see it coming. That's all I'm gonna say.
That got delayed recently, dude. Does that worry you?
No, it doesn't worry me because they're trying to make it perfect. It's gonna come out. It's gonna be a 10.
Okay.
And then Beef Hammer. I'm not gonna read his name. It makes me mad. Beef got Dragon's Dogma 2, which gave him an easy 18 points with an 88. But then he screwed up. He put unannounced mainline 3D Mario platformer. Dark counterpicked that, and I'll be honest, that was prophetic because I really thought 3D Mario was 100% going to be this year with the Switch 2.
Yeah, because in January we all thought Switch 2 was this year.
And now we know it's not this year. So Mario's probably getting delayed out of it for Switch 2. So yeah, sorry, Beef.
So do we want to allow dropping locked games like that?
No.
He's lost.
Yeah, you screwed up. Yeah. And then also he had Brothers of Tales of Two Sun remake with an 11.
I can't believe I got an 81.
Me too.
I can't believe that.
And then Balatro. Okay, this was actually prophetic from Beef. He got Balatro, which got a 92 with 24 points with that one.
He outbid me for it, by the way. So.
Wait, so okay, Balatro for me, I swear, was just like this random game that came out of nowhere. So I was surprised that people were able to bid on it.
Yeah, I had no idea. Granted, it must have been just an indie space thing. Like people who follow these quirky little indie games knew about it, and all of us were like, "What do you mean this game came out and has a 92?"
I didn't think anyone was gonna bid on it when I bid on it.
I mean, Fusion, was there like hype around it in the indie space?
In the indie space, I guess, because I only knew it from 6-1 Indie. If you guys have watched that podcast or heard anything about them, I only knew it for them. So like, I guess I definitely feel like if you're not like deep into the indie scene, you didn't hear about this game till like it came out on Open Critic and was like, this is a 92 best indie of the year.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until
I don't blame anyone for not knowing about it, not even knowing about it.
For sure. And then Fusion, the Sony Pony Express, which doesn't have any Sony games. Your only game that came out
is a Sony game. That's only on PS5, bro.
Oh, my bad. Ultros is your Sony Pony game, which got you an 80 on Open Critic, 10 points. I mean, looking at the rest of your league, actually, I think you got a pretty confident group of games. I mean, no Rest for the Wicked. No Rest for the Wicked. It's always dependent on if it comes out this year.
Yeah, that's a bit.
# Blood. I have not heard of that.
Look it up. You'll love it. Saturday morning cartoons. Oh. It's right there for you, dude. Cartoon Network. I promise you.
Oh, wait, hang on. Now that you're describing it, I think I may have heard of it.
It's Billy and Mandy in the flesh.
Oh, this one looks awesome.
Told you about it before,
No. No, yeah, I saw it at I think SkillUp was talking about it. I'm so into that. And then also, I mean, like looking at the rest of your league, Silk Song. I hope Fusion. I really hope
it's coming, man. I swear, if Silk Song does hit, I just don't ever see a space in my mind where that's below a 90. I just don't see it. So it's just like I feel like that's a guaranteed 20 points.
Oh no, I agree with you there. I mean, describing all the hype around it, it makes sense that it'd be shocking if it went all this time and it's like an 83.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'd be a
what?
little salty. I won't lie.
What were you guys doing for all that time?
I'd be a little salty. Hellblade 2 is like my sleeper. Sleeper in a way where it's just like, that's either going to get me 80 points or 92 points. I don't feel like there's any in between with Hellblade. It's either going to be like this 10 out of 10 Xbox game, or it's going to be like, it's fine.
We'll see. I feel like it'll probably review similarly to Hellblade 1. It seems like it's basically very much a sequel to Hellblade 1. Which, I mean, I say that, but it's like, yeah, it literally is a sequel to Hellblade 1. You know what I mean?
I mean, Hellblade 1 scored at 84, so I mean, I wouldn't be upset at that.
Yeah. Jat is next. Jat's got a weird league here. So he got
Jats
Princess
just
Peach
went
Showtime.
full Nintendo.
Yeah, which is funny because like he got Princess Peach Showtime, 6 points, but then Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, 7 points, but then he actually got Helldivers 2, which I actually think it was a really good pickup from him.
Because we weren't expecting it to be as big a hit.
Yeah, and I mean like 83, so it wasn't like a prophetic Balatro pickup like by Beef or apparently Fusion. Who knows if he actually did bid on it, but but Helldivers 2, I think that was a smart pickup. I didn't even think about like putting it on my league. And then Pepper Grinder, which recently came out. I actually wanted to talk about that. That game looks really interesting. I don't know if you were.
I played the
looking at
demo.
that.
It was okay.
Did you see it, Fusion? You're the indie guy.
I think I have heard it, like seen it, but let me look up Steam real quick.
It-
I feel like
it
I've seen
debuted
it, but I
in-
haven't.
It debuted in a Nintendo Direct, and then
Oh,
it
yeah,
just recently came out.
It was
I've
like
seen
a
this.
drill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm not really into it, but cool to see it reviewed well.
And then the rest of Jat's League has got some interesting ones. Genealogy, the Holy War remake. That hit this year? What do you guys think?
If the Switch 2 isn't out this year, probably not.
I mean,
I think they want to launch with a Fire Emblem.
Do they need to? I think they need something else for the rest holiday season.
How
when
old is that
Pokemon's out
game?
there.
Like, how old is the OG of that game?
It's a 90s game. But the remakes are
Oh,
like
wow.
full remakes. Like they are very much like modern games.
Mm.
Like
I
Echo
guess it
Shadows
could
of
be
Valencia.
this year, this holiday thing.
I could see it. He got Endless Ocean, which I thought that was funny. But yeah, Jet's definitely playing like the very much again like picking up the middle tier games, but like he kind of got the weird straw when it came to the middle tier games.
Yeah, I feel like his team's very safe. Like I feel like he's like, he might not have a lot of like bad games, but he's only gonna get a lot of games that are like 77, 76. So he's just gonna rack up the sevens.
And then we have Moon, who got
Nice.
Rise of the Ronin with 6
Damn
points.
it!
Dude,
I really thought
Sony
it was gonna
failed
be
me.
that was
Sony
your
failed
first
me.
pick, dude. That was your
Yeah.
first pick. That's so bad for a
because
first
that
pick.
was we were so
It was
everyone, all the Sony ponies were hyped for. So I'm like, okay, well,
Not me.
you guys have all taken Dragon's
you buying
Dogma
this?
and Persona and Final Fantasy. Like, what's left? I'm like, fine, Rise of the Ronin. All the ponies were excited for it, and they gave me a 76.
Fusion, don't act like you're above us. Not me. Shut up.
Well, I mean, to me, if you think about it like this, Moon, though, I think Flight Simulator should have been your first pick, and you still got Flight Simulator on your list. So, like, it worked out.
Simulator's easy points. Like that's a 90 plus without question. Those freaks love that game. Expeditions on Mud Runner game was your second pick. I think Bop was getting into your ear during the podcast, if I remember. He was like whispering sweet. No, I mean 79's not bad though.
Yeah,
But then
that's a good, better than Rise of the Ronin.
Then you got Phantom Blade Zero as like your fourth pickup.
That's not this year.
I don't think anyone thinks it's this year.
I think
Your
it's this year.
Beef counterpicked that one. And the Star Wars Outlaw, which was counterpicked by Bench.
That was the
think
dumbest
that
counter
actually
pick
does
of
actually-
everything. Also, but
I mean, I don't think it's that great. I think it could be 2025. It really is depending on what Ubisoft's
It's not
schedule
like
is
it's
for
gonna
this
be
year.
like mid 80s.
it
It
will be
could.
mid 80s
It's
easily.
probably
I will
gonna be
put my
mid-80s.
money on it. If the Assassin's Creed Valhalla can get an 84, buddy, this game's getting above that.
Oh, Valhalla got an 84. Okay, this is
Yeah.
getting a 95 then. God damn, I lost faith in Ubisoft critics if that's the case. Yeah, and you also got a lot of weird games here. Interesting picks. the rumored new Astrobot platformer. I hope it's this year, man.
He stole
I
that
really
from
do.
me or something. He just heard me talking about it so much that he just had to go take it.
It's like I gotta have faith that the Sony ponies are be like, okay, this is our one PlayStation's
It's
exclusive
coming,
this year.
dude. It's coming.
Keep saying that in a derogatory sense. I'm gonna say Xbots in a derogatory sense. All right,
I
Xbots.
don't know if
okay.
it's actually
You
coming.
did
but
earlier this
it's coming.
podcast.
How was I derogatory? I am very kind. And then finally, Peak Publishing, great name, with Bench, 88 on Unicorn Overlord. So far, that's the only game of his that came out. Let me tell you guys, I think almost all of these games are Japanese.
And they're
The
all
Japanese
like
are on the top of the industry right now. Let me tell you.
Oh
Binks
yeah,
is projected
Japanese
last
and EA
place,
Sports College Football
Yeah.
25.
and a Till Dawn remake. How did that even slip in there, bro? Did we allow remakes? How did Till Dawn get here?
We
Uh,
allowed remakes,
it would-
yes.
I know, but that's like, is that Till Dawn even a remake? That game's
Yeah, it's being
a
ported to
remaster,
Unify.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, no, Fusion, you don't get to do this because I remember when that game was revealed, it's like, oh yeah, dude, it's like a full remake.
No,
like
it
you were
does
telling
look a lot
to
better,
me.
but there's no.
Metaphor is
doesn't-
going to hit big. I
No,
can
it
tell
doesn't
you.
matter because none of these games Binks have are coming out.
What?
None of
That's
them.
insane.
Oh, okay,
None of them.
no, some of the Bench is
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Visions of
Silent Hill 2
Mana is
remake.
coming out. Dragon Ball Z
Oh,
is
yeah.
coming out.
I guess.
Bench, why'd you pick up Silent Hill 2 remake? The game's gonna suck ass. That's gonna give
It's going to
to
score at least above a 70, and I'll let me some points.
I mean,
I
listen,
guess it's more so. I don't believe he already had Dragon Quest. That game not coming out.
That's
Ghost
no.
not coming
No,
out.
I think
Dragon-
it could.
Dragon
I think
Quest
that
could
could.
very easily come out this year.
Earthblade already delayed.
But I'm dropping that, so
Well,
that's fine.
you're gonna figure it out that you can't sue.
I
Hades
love how
2.
Tate-
not
No,
coming.
I figured it out with Jat. If I drop the game and you still try and counterpick it, it doesn't matter. I drop it.
You had to go. You had to go to your dad. He had to teach you how to play, or what's up?
Uh-huh.
I
Metaphor
love
is
how
going to hit
Tate-
90 plus. And we're
Yeah,
gonna win.
dude.
Fusion was so tame on everyone else, and then with Bench's turn came, so he's like, "Bro, none of these games are hitting."
Because
bro,
I
you
know-
moron."
I know Binks is gonna act like he's gonna win, but I mean he is projected to lose by like a lot. Like he's actually
Because of-
projected to be down there
Because
by
I
dark.
picked games that build up a score, like Hades 2 is going to be great.
It's not coming out,
The early access is going to come out.
which won't count. Our rules
That
are
won't
it has to come out.
No, it's
I don't
fine.
think the full
don't-
release will come out.
There's no way that full
EA is
release
going
comes
to
out.
net
I
me
would
some
love
points. Codename Red's going to net me some points.
it.
I
Assassin's
think
Creed ain't
Visions of
coming out.
Mana hits.
Assassin's Creed is coming out this year.
Not a
It's-
believer, man.
It's most likely coming out this year because they said on their financial report it'll be out by the end of the fiscal year.
It'll be a PS5 Pro launch title.
I just don't. I'm fully on the Outlaws comes out train, and it makes me believe that Red will get delayed till early 2025.
And Metaphor has been rated. That's this October, apparently.
Yeah,
No,
rated
I
for
wouldn't- I wouldn't
bad.
say never.
No,
Whoa, okay. Hang on. That was a little too far.
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's
Metaphor
okay,
is gonna. Metaphor might be the game for you. It's open world. That's
It has like this fantasy vibes. I do like it, kind of.
you're gonna be playing.
I think Metaphor is actually going to score really well because
I-
Persona 5, like Persona games usually score really well.
I
and-
think if
if
they
this is a
nail what they're
brand new
going
game-
for, yeah, I think it could do. I think this could be like mid 90s.
That's actually why I
Okay,
think it might not be as
mid-90s.
high as we think because everything's new, so they're gonna try a bunch of shit, and it's probably not all gonna land. So I could see this being like a low 80s at best.
Whoa, low
No.
80s at best.
What
I mean, low 80s at
Tactica
worst.
score?
I'd
That's
say.
what it's gonna score.
I think mid 80s at worst. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be better than Persona 3, I guess, which isn't saying much. But
Persona 3 scored like an 89.
I'm just talking
Yeah, I
about
don't
in
think it-
general.
Oh.
I think mid
Being a hater.
80s is probably the closest, or rather the lowest it gets is mid 80s. I could see like 92 around.
I
that
just
range.
can't see a brand new franchise scoring something like that. Now, if this was we were talking like Metaphor 1 did really good and we're talking like Metaphor 2, sure, because they're going to build on what worked, but they're going to try stuff and it's probably not all going to click.
I'm with you, man.
I
They're
don't know.
just
I think it's gonna be
But
very
they
good.
have
I-
Well, that's the thing though. They have a template.
Weebs.
This is basically just a Persona game. It's just
Yeah,
a
they
new
have the
setting.
template, but they're still going to experiment with other things.
we
Yeah,
saw a Persona 3 reload. People are over the Persona train, man.
That's
It's
not why
falling.
people were over 3 reloads.
It's falling.
Fusion. Oh my god, bro is on a rampage today.
It's falling, and I'm seeing what Moon's laying down. I'm picking it up.
You're just a hater.
Well, you got Until Dawn remake on your list, so it pisses me off.
I also got. You're mad that I picked up EA before you.
Whatever, 70 points. Woo.
I mean,
Bench, I don't think you're crazy for picking up Dragon Quest 3. I think that does it this year. I hope so, because that game's awesome.
I
and
think
can't
we
wait
could
for
get a
that remake.
direct soon, and that could be like a game there. That makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
No, 100% agree.
Who counterpicked it?
I can't wait
by-
until Star Wars
Dark.
Outlaws comes out and it costs Bench like 15 points.
I know, he
But
had the
like-
counterpick, dude.
Also, we have like
I mean, it's
Octopath
a
Traveler
Ubisoft
2 was announced in September, and it came out in February. Like,
Oh,
that's-
actually, okay, real quick, I gotta make fun of Bench. Ghost of Tsushima 2, we didn't even mention that, and that ain't coming out.
It's coming out.
Bro,
It's coming out.
coming out, dog! Dog, they literally
It's
said
coming
there's
out.
no...
It's gonna be a PS5 Pro launch title.
Yeah, I
It's
bet,
September
dude.
1st.
said no games for the financial year from, like,
They're playing us.
franchises.
It's a red herring. They're playing us.
Oh,
Boy,
man,
that-
Bench, I wish
Can you smell that hopium?
Yeah, there's
Coming.
no
We're
way
gonna
that
be
game's
playing
coming.
it. Come this November. It's gonna be
No,
game of
we're
the
gonna be-
year.
We're gonna be playing the Outlaws come this November.
No, Outlaws is like I think an August or September thing.
Even better.
Wait, so you do think it's this year?
Well,
They
no, I think it's
counterpicked
this
us
year. I
and there's no
just don't
reason.
think it's gonna score super great.
So real quick, I'm gonna do a quick recap of everyone's scores right now. 8th place right now is Dark with 17 points. God bless his soul.
That's
Seventh
Oh,
place.
I gotta
last
be in
place.
last place because I have 10.
Yeah,
Wait.
Fusion's a failure.
Oh wait, no, this is okay. This is projected. My bad.
Yeah,
my
that's
bad.
Yeah, go to points actual of right now. It's Fusion at the bottom.
Yeah, Fusion. God bless you, Fusion.
I'm
Fusion
projecting
is at the
100 more
bottom.
points though.
Fusion
With-
sucks.
What does it say your points?
I have 9.66 apparently.
9 points. Okay, points. Okay, got it. My bad, boys. So Fusion's at 8th place with 9.66 points. Moon is at 7th with 15 points. Dark at 6th with 17. Bench at 5th also with 17. Look at you guys, twinsies. Me, the GOAT, with 30 points at 4th. Jat at 3rd with 34 points. Beef Hammer with 60 points at 2nd, and then Navi at 1st with 66. Let me just tell you guys, those two are basically fighting their own fight, and we're all fighting for 3rd.
Nah, but
We're all
they've had
fighting
so
for third
many.
place.
Like, they both have a combined 9 game released. I have 1. Moon has 2. Like, we're fine.
That's
We're
also
chill.
why they're also projected, is because we don't have as many games on it
Yeah.
as much as they do. Like once we start adding more games, then like maybe the projections will be a little bit more interesting.
And like the
Yeah,
money
Kurt?
wise, like Jat's getting a little broke at this time of the year. Dark $40 somehow. I don't know how, but
got-
like
I still got $93.
I got 98.
Wait.
bro.
Fusion, how do you have more money than me?
And I stay on that grind. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I got my last 2 bids were for $0.
Yeah, I think all of my bids have been for
Yeah.
$0.
Oh my god, you guys are so cheap.
Beef has
You guys
$52. That's going to cost them come after Summer Games Fest. People aren't thinking ahead. Like Summer Games Fest is going to drop. We're going to get a bunch of release dates.
Oh,
People are
yeah.
going to be running over the bid on things, and look, by this time, people aren't going to have the money.
That's
Yeah,
what I
those are-
was waiting for.
Yep, me
That's
too.
why I'm waiting.
Now, granted, Beef and Navi only need like 4 games each, or 3 games for Navi. They only have to get 3 more, and they have a nice full slot.
Yeah, but maybe they're going to feel bad when they like Navi is picking up. Like, there's no offense to Europa, I don't know what that is, or like, but
That's
or
crazy.
Locomotive, or like, is he? I guarantee, if he would have waited till after Summer Games Fest, he could have saved some money and got a game that's gonna be better than a League of Legends story that gave him 3 points.
Yeah, apparently, also Mina might be a little farther off than we think. Apparently, they're hiring right now.
Oh,
for
Mina the
Mina.
Hollower.
Nah,
Yeah,
no,
I hope that
they're
doesn't
prob-
come out.
What the fuck?
Apparently
you,
they're-
Fusion?
Yeah, I saw a tweet where someone's like, "Why haven't we heard about Mina the Hollower? It was supposed to be Hollower. It was supposed to come out in December of last year." Then someone linked that they're now
Cherry
hiring for the
2.0.
game.
You guys don't know anything. They're coming out this year.
I really hope it doesn't come out because I also bid on that and Navi outbid me.
Yeah, I bet we got Silk Song gonna be dropped once it gets to 2025 date.
Ooh, I kick him off the podcast.
Dude, if we got a 2025 date, I want you to know I'm just done with indies. I'm gonna be a AAA gamer.
Nine Souls is coming though, Fusion.
9 Souls is coming, boys. That's on the list. It's
Yay.
almost
Every
We're
day,
getting
Fusion's
ready.
like, "Where's Nine Souls?" Finally happened.
Isn't
9
it- that's the
Souls
same
and
week as-
Hellblade coming the same week. Yeah.
What if it's mid?
What are you playing first?
Hellblade comes out like 4 days before, and it's probably 5 hours long, so I can probably do that first.
Okay, but are you gonna enjoy those 5 hours?
I like the first game enough.
Every time I talk to you about it, you sound so mad about it. You're like, man, the gameplay sucks.
Well, because it could have been so much better, but when I think it's one of those games where I still think the gameplay is not great at all, but it's one of the games where when I think about the story that's being told and the stuff they're doing with like mental health and everything, it is actually a really cool story. So I'm more interested in where the story goes compared to like playing the game, if that makes sense.
Confusion. I have a real question for you. What do we have to pay you to skip both those games and play Paper Mario with us? Join the hype.
He's
train.
not playing it. I don't want him playing it. I don't.
I
Want
think
him
he.
playing
I think he'd like it though. That's the
No,
thing.
because he's gonna see Mario on the cover and like immediately like throw his
Oh, yeah.
controller at the TV.
He's not going to understand the charm.
You don't get it.
I
Fusion.
literally love Mario Odyssey, but I
No,
just
you're not
don't
gonna
like
get
it.
it. You're not gonna get it like I do.
I'm not gonna get it for $70. That's all I know.
You're gonna, no,
60.
you're gonna be the
60 too
same. It's gonna be the same as Elden Ring, where you're gonna consistently find things to make fun of Elden Ring. You
Yeah.
consistently make
the
stuff
horse.
up
The horse is
just to
trash.
annoy me. You know?
Oh,
I
something
don't
that did
know
happen
about
this
that,
week is
but
they delayed the FF14 DLC for the Elden Ring DLC. I found that funny.
Oh yeah, it's
He
just
ran
Yoshi
away.
free on the stage. I respect it.
And then when
I mean, Shin Megami
SCP got
Tensei 5
pushed up,
also changed its release date, so it's like okay, we're gonna leave that week alone.
FF14 DLC. Let's go.
Before we end off the topic, I do want to just do a quick check-in since this is our quarterly report. What do we think so far, at least for 2024, this quarter in games? Are we satisfied, disappointed? How are we feeling?
I'm very satisfied. I think.
Of course, you're
It's my
satisfied.
new favorite
You got
game
your
of all
Final
time.
Fantasy.
Get back to me after I play Infinite Wealth.
oh,
I
I
do
mean,
think
if
I really got
Go
to
ahead.
finish. I really got to finish Unicorn Overlord and Dragon's Dogma 2. And both of those games were like 50 hours, and I'm in like 20. So
hey man, no one's rushing you. They're gonna.
I know
still be
that I think something different with this year.
But like
for
so
some
far,
reason. Yeah,
It does
so
feel like
far with how
it feels like a weird year, all things considered.
like I don't feel
It's-
rushed to beat games currently, which is nice.
which is
Like I don't,
awesome.
it's like really like I think the next thing that I like day one, we're absolutely sure, and I'm like not fine like waiting a couple days. I don't want to be there for Paper Mario, and that's in May. Like
Yeah,
late May,
Fusion.
so.
Fusion, we were talking about this on our own actually. How it seems like this is going to be a good year to catch up on the backlog and like wait for sales on a lot of these games because these don't feel like games you have to play day one. I mean, we talked about it a lot last week with Dragon's Dogma 2, where we're playing the worst version of that game if we get it day one. You know, and we're not saying the game's bad, nothing like that, but it is just like a wait for patches, wait for sales type of year for you. Is that the case?
yeah, it's because like, I mean, we're about to hit April. The only game I've bought this year is Rebirth. So like for me, it's been a very, very slow year. But it's not to say I've been interested in probably like 10 plus releases. It's just that thing where it's I'm saving money by waiting. I feel like I'm not losing money. There hasn't been, other than Rebirth to an extent, there hasn't been like this giant Elden Ring discussion that I feel like I'm missing out on right now. So it's like nothing has really pressured me into being like, hey, I have to get like I have a bunch of games I totally want to play. I still want to play The Lost Crown. I still want to get the Dragon's Dogma. I still want to check out other stuff. But when I can just save money, wait, and honestly, for me, when I've looked at like the few games we know in the second half, like Star Wars Outlaws, hopefully, but like with Stalker, Warhammer, like for some reason those games are mattering more to me, and like I'm more excited about those than anything that's really came out in these first like 3 to 6 months throughout the year.
Yeah, do you think that it's kind of a byproduct of like 2023 was very stacked, so 2024 is just going to look very low, not low quality, but like just lesser in comparison no matter what? Or is it just like in general you think that, oh, this year is like definitely objectively these games are great, but there are a lot of like not for me's when it comes to Fusion's tastes?
I don't know. I feel like I don't because it's weird. Because I feel like it's not even the nuts for me. I just feel like last year I found myself spending way too much money on day one games just cause. Like I bought Diablo 4 day one, $70. And I'm like thinking back on it. I'm like, why did I even Resident Evil 4 remake. I really like that game, but I got myself caught up in like, hey, I need to be at this game for day one for $70, and then it was $40 in like a month. I was like, I could have truly waited for this.
I think
Same.
I think for last year we had like 6 different games which all dominated the conversation for months on end. And this year we've just only had Rebirth, which has made FOMO not as big of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, dominate the conversation versus like quality games. Like, there's definitely been a lot of quality releases, in my opinion, for my
for sure.
buck. Like Tekken 8, Infinite Wealth, which I absolutely adore. Like, they're great games coming out, and I really want to check out Unicorn Overlord, Dragon's Dogma 2. Probably nothing else major came out in February for me. I don't think anything came out that I only put 4 hours in, but I do have a lot of games that I want to get to.
Yeah, I'm already feeling that because I bought Infinite Wealth, not day one, but like week 2 or something like that, and I still haven't played it. And you can already get it for like $40 or something now. Oh, I feel terrible.
And
yeah, I hate that. So I think it's more of like kind of what you said, where it's like there's really good quality games this year. We already have like 4 90 pluses. We have plenty of like 89s. I think last year it was Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate, like there was specific games where you could not escape talking about them. But right now there's so many like quality games coming out like back to back to back, but they're all different genres and for different people that no one's really talking about one thing. So you feel like you're never missing out because you could be playing Helldivers 2 while your friend's playing Rebirth, getting totally 2 different experiences, and you feel like you're not missing out on one or the other. Or you could be playing Dragon Dogma 2 while someone else is playing Rise of the Ronin. I understand one is drastically rated better, but like there's still people really enjoying Rise of the Ronin, and there's other people really enjoying Dragon Dogma 2. So you're seeing more of like, it feels more like a shared community of games that are people talking about compared to last year. It really was genuinely like, it felt like it was 5 giant games, just no matter what, and that's everyone was talking about that through the whole year. Like we're talking about Zelda and Baldur's Gate and Spider-Man the entire year. Where now it's like people are still playing Tekken and other people are still playing Prince of Persia and people are still catching up on 2023 games they didn't get to play because that's how crazy 2023 was. Now they're like, it's leaking into this year. So it's different in the sense of there just hasn't been a 96 or something in credit. There was nothing this year that was hyped up pre Tears of the Kingdom or pre Spider-Man. Like so even for the games coming out later this year, there's nothing where it's like we've waited for this game for multiple years. It just feels like
there's no God of War Ragnarok, there's no Spider-Man, there's no
that was
like
Rebirth,
that.
I think.
Elden Ring, nothing.
I would say Rebirth's the closest, but I still think Rebirth is still so not small, but I still think Rebirth to me is such a like I could show all my friends God of War or Spider-Man and they're in, I could show them all Rebirth and none of them are going to care. Rebirth just still doesn't have that like power to me compared to these other games.
I think Rebirth also had like I don't know if they call it a benefit, but the fact it came out in February I think made it so it didn't feel like that year-long wait kind of game because all the other Spider-Man, God of War, they all came out like later in the year, so we were waiting for the entire year. Whereas Rebirth's like, here you go, February.
Yeah, it did feel way less of a wait for like even like Tears of the Kingdom. That was May, so like you had to wait 5 months before you got into like there was a long hype cycle into the year for Tears of the Kingdom. Spider-Man was October, so like you had to wait till October. Rebirth was like everyone was like excited for Rebirth, and people are still playing it and enjoying it. It's probably right now would be the Game of the Year winner if we went to TGAs, but it did feel like there was less of a hype cycle into the year because it just came out so early into the year.
It is interesting that you point out like, oh, conversation games, but I'm gonna say 2 games that I would say arguably had a bigger conversation than Rebirth. Maybe not on a quality spectrum, but in a conversation, Palworld and Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
Those had much bigger conversations than any of us expected. And I feel like that's going to be kind of a thing we're going to have to monitor in the future is like these random, like small AA games, these indies, they could be on that level and they could very much take up the headspace to the point of Elden Ring size conversations. I mean, everyone remembers when Elden Ring came out, you couldn't escape it. I would say Helldivers 2 and Power World are very close, if not already reached that when they came out. And now even Helldivers 2 is still talked about. It's still massive.
Yeah, I can't believe so many people are still playing it. That's I
I mean, it's a
mean,
good game.
yeah,
It's a really good game.
it's just crazy to me that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe it's more like that. Maybe it feels like the games that are being talked about a lot this year, which happen to be Power World, Helldivers 2, and I say with Rebirth, I'd say those have been the most three. I played one of them, and I don't really care about the other two. So for me personally, I feel like I'm getting no FOMO compared to say maybe Prince of Persia should have been more talked about. Let's say Prince of Persia was more talked about in the vein of Power World. I probably would have felt more FOMO compared to. I feel like the Prince of Persia talk lasted a week. People love that game, talking about it for a week, and it's already moved on because
Well,
like
the problem with that was the fact that Tekken and Like a Dragon also came out a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had no chance. I mean, I'll be honest, I forgot about Prince of Persia and I love that game. But it's just like it was so early in the
It's
year.
gonna be
too,
that game
literally.
with we all
second
at the
week.
end of the year go, oh yeah, that did come out.
Hi-Fi
it feels
Rush,
like a
dude.
prototype, right? Well, I mean, Hi-Fi Rush won our game of the year, so don't
I
discount
know,
it.
so Prince of Persia might.
So Prince of Persia is gonna win Game of the Year. It's gonna be on all our lists.
Oh, I hope
Honestly,
so.
that's a
I
W.
don't know.
That's a
Yeah.
W in my opinion.
Like that's a game I want to get. Like I still want to get to, and I saw it was like $30. Like it's getting down in price, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Bro's pulling the cheapskate card. Like, hey, God, when is it $15?
Yeah, when is it? Oh, Game
It's a
Pass.
Ubisoft game. It's gonna be $15 as soon as I sneeze.
It'll probably be
When
on Game Pass by summer, honestly.
If it's our future, it's just like, when is it that they're gonna give it to me? When are they gonna just give
When
me
will
the
they pay
game?
me to play their video game?
They're gonna go for the sponsorship deal.
Uh,
Can you tell me about Dragon's Dogma 2 before we get out of here? Just real fast.
I mean, it's definitely not perfect. It's got some flaws. I think I'm not a huge fan of how they do the open world because it still feels linear. I mean, it's still so far a solid 9 out of 10. The gameplay is great. The story is meh. It's serviceable. I'm still just really enjoying my time with it. Unicorn Overlord, though, good game.
Hang on. Dragon's Dogma 2. Is this a cutscene skipping game? I don't even need to pay attention to the story.
No, because I'd be mad.
Well, can I do it?
No, because I do not value your opinion on the game.
Okay, but bench. But like, what if I did it?
I mean, Navi said he was going to do it, and I was mad, so I'd still be mad.
You just said the story was mid, so it's like
I mean,
can skip the
doesn't
cutscene.
a story can be mid in any game, and I'd never skip it. But that's just me, and I judge you otherwise.
you're
No, I
preaching
want you to
right
know.
now, man.
No, that's the thing. I was that way. The game that broke me was Horizon Forbidden West. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, can we end the
whoa.
podcast? Can we
Go-
please end the podcast?
That's insane. No, you
I
skipped the
couldn't-
cutscenes in Forbidden West. That's insane.
No, it's for the side quests.
But
main
those
quest
were
I-
great. Those were
I was
fantastic.
just saying, those are amazing. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Look, you're
From Soft can do no wrong though. From Soft Othering.
FromSoft has no stories. You can't skip them then.
There is a story on FromSoft games. You guys just don't pay attention.
Let's get out of
Again,
here.
making stuff up. By the way, I want to say that. Making stuff up. They've always been making stuff up. Bop gets in your ears. Anyways, that's the end of the podcast. Moon, get us out of here.
You've bought. You're obsessed.
Bop is a weirdo. Microsoft Flight Simulator is his most anticipated game. Do you really trust the opinion of that man? I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
He likes
highly
Rebirth more than
anticipating
you. Or
getting high
Fusion
points from
Return,
that.
So he's good in my book.
I'll play Rebirth, okay?
No, you won't.
Yes, I will. But I'm gonna skip the cutscenes.
You're gonna
I
skip
might
the
block you at
cutscenes in
that
Flight
point.
Simulator?
Honestly, that's a fucking mood. Anyways, get us out of here, man.
Yeah, let's get out of here. It's been going on for longer. We're
Pop
supposed to be the new
Smells.
Slimmer podcast. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments if you have any interest in Marvel Rivals. And hope you guys enjoyed the little update on the quarter for Fantasy Critic. So we'll be doing that every 3 months. So be looking forward to the next one. Because summer, there's not a whole lot of summer. There's just kind of Elden Ring. And that's about it.
No,
That's
Dawn
all you
Trail
need.
and Trails.
It's the only
That's
game
all-
you need.
Elden Mid, let's go.
Shut the fuck up, you loser. Get a job.
But yeah, let's. All right, let's get out of here. So make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your friends to tune into a Slice of Gaming podcast, and we will catch you all next Saturday. And say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.
I hope they shut off
Goodbye.
the servers to Final Fantasy 14. I hope that whole game goes to shit.
I hope Elden Ring DLC is bad.
I hope everything is bad about Bench's life. I hope his family